but it still is 4 beats. This is still 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And let's say instead of the rest up here, let's move this down here. I'll just move this up there just to show another example or another difference here. Let me move this over here like that. So it looks like the note heads, these things right here, are on top of each other. Now, here's 4 beats as well. As I move this bracket across here, you'll see here's beat 1, and there's the other half of 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. Now, just a quick reminder, remember these right here, these 2 notes here are the same as these 2 right here. When you have 2 flags, they usually just bar them together on top. So these are 2/8 notes. These are also 2/8 notes. All right. Now, just keep in mind that, remember that this used to be right here in the center. This used to be the letter C. So if you look across here, here would be the top of the bass clef, and then there's a space that would be a note. The note that would go here would be a note, which is middle C. This underneath would be a note, and then this would be E. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this back down again. This is what we're used to seeing. Now, usually in music programs, they show these 5 and these 5 really spread apart. And all that does is create more confusion. But the main thing, if you can just remember that the grand staff is really 11 lines. All right, but that's what it really means way from the past. But they took away that middle one just to make it a little bit easier to see the difference between the 2. Here is the bass clef, and I want to move everything down here so we can see that a little bit more clear. You move this down here 4/4 time, and we can move this here, move this down here like that. Put this rest here in the center, like where it normally is. Put this down here. Whoops, I'm doing the wrong thing here. There we go. Get this note here, move it down some. Get this note here, move it down. I'm just doing it just so you can see where the note heads are. That's all. I'll move this up a tiny bit. Maybe you can see this. There we go. Now, let's see if I can show you a middle C. So you can see how that works. I'm going to copy that and paste it. Now, let's put this over here. I'm going to turn it upside down because you can see them both ways. You can see them upside down or right side up. It doesn't really matter which way the stem is turning. It's where the note head is. It's this part right here that tells you what pitch is actually there. Okay, so I'm going to move this down here to about right here. Sometimes you'll see the C really close to the lines here, and you'll see it with a short line inside it. That means it is middle C. All right, you'll see notes that are like that. Sometimes you see it close to the treble clef, that's middle C. Sometimes you see it close to the bass clef. If I move this down here like this, it is still middle C. They sound exactly the same. So it's just something to remember. Now, yes, I know that this adds like an extra beat here, so I'm just showing this as an example to you all. But in fact, just so we don't get confused, let me go ahead and take this away and move this over here like this to show you how middle C looks within the whole thing. Oops. Trying to move these little things here. I'm working on this with Microsoft Word. It's not really a music writing program, but it allows me to show a few things here so we can understand how things work within the grand staff. All right, so here we are. We have 4 beats here done in a grand staff. If you could listen to it, if I could play this for you, you could hear how this sounds, and you would notice that these things would sound together. These would sound together as well. It's like I said, as if a bar is going across and doing these beats all at the same time on 4 beats. Like here's beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. All right. Now, question has been asked before, well, how many notes can you stack on one beat? Well, you can stack as many as you want, really. It's pretty much infinite, but I mean, that gets to a point where it just sounds like noise rather than blended sound. So there are rules about that when you get into things called triads and stuff like that, but that's not what this lesson is about. Mainly, this is to show you how the grand staff works and how somebody could write something within the grand staff and make it understandable, but to those people trying to read it. Now, it is not a mistake if you were to do something like this and not put the rest in if you're writing it in, as long as you designate where those beats are. All right? Would not be a mistake. But like I said, music programs trying to make things a little bit more clear for everybody, they do have these things placed in there just to make sure that you know where those beats are. If something's happening down here but nothing up there, put a rest there. Okay? And that's pretty much it as far as the introduction to the grand staff. If you have any questions, there will be more information on YouTube regarding how things can be done on the grand staff, and I'll be posting some other ones on there along the way to give you more examples of how things are put on to the grand staff. Thank you for your attention on this, and we'll be talking to you very, very soon.